You
Correct.
have to, at that point, you have to love yourself enough to
Some
recognize that that person ain't for you.
some people stick around
I
and
know
wait.
that happens.
Oh yeah.
I
Oh
know
yeah.
that happens. And it's
It's
unfortunate.
happened to me.
Bro, I've been in that same situation. I've done it. I've
Yeah.
lived it.
Oh, we
And
all have. This is episode 17, part 2.
there has never been a case in my personal experience that me just being around, me just existing in the same space as somebody has randomly resulted in whether it's a sexual encounter or a relationship or whatever the case may be. Like, look, if those are the things you want, just sitting in that space of, oh, as long as I sit here and do the quote unquote nice guy thing, she'll
That's
eventually
exactly where you're
notice
gonna
me.
be.
Yeah,
That rarely happens until maybe, because more than likely she's in another situation that she'd rather be in.
mm-hmm.
Until that goes sour, and then she comes to you and maybe realizes, oh well, maybe that can take forever or never happen.
And the other thing is, if that's what you want, say
uh,
something, act on it.
well,
Because
well, 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 what are you gonna say? I want to
I
be with you.
mean, say something like
Yeah, but
because closed mouths aren't gonna get fed.
what result is it gonna be? What result are you gonna get out of it if you say something?
Because so let's put it like this: if you're just happy being around the person, then yes, that is a friend, and you need to get it out of your head that that's going to be a relationship because that's not actually what you're looking for. If you're genuinely just there for the interaction and the camaraderie and all that, yeah, you're looking for a friend, right? If you are looking for more than that, if you are looking for this person as someone you want to build a life with, then they're not going to see you as anything different because they are probably looking to you for the camaraderie as well. So until you put yourself in a space that they see you as more than a friend or potentially more than a friend, you're not going to get anywhere. So
Yeah, but
that whole, oh, I'm a
how
sit
long do you
here.
expect people to wait for that? How
Yeah,
long do some people, some guys are still on what I call the chopping block. They they waiting for they get off the bench with the girl, and they been on that bench for 3-4 years
but how you gonna get off the bench if you never tell the coach you're trying to get in the game?
because they don't want to. It's one of those things where
If
they're
you
happy
that
being on
that's
the bench, but at the same time, they're trying to convince the coach to put them in the game. It's like
the way you
they're playing the
convince
middle
the
field.
coach to put you in the game is you show, like, I was watching what's it called? I was watching NBA earlier tonight.
Huh?
You know how
Not you.
all of those people, what's it called, make it known that they want to participate. They make it known they want to participate through their actions, their
Correct.
effort, and
Correct.
their behavior.
Okay. So what if you're friends with a woman and she has no feelings for you at all? So you
And
get you're talking about being on the bench. It's one of those situations where a man kind of a man or a woman kind of waits around to feel needed or wanted from a person that doesn't need or want them.
that goes back to, what's it called? That goes back to the conversation we started in the last at the beginning with
Yeah.
like, is are they actually what you want? Because if they're actually what you want, then you are going to put in the effort to get that
Okay.
person,
Okay.
right?
So what if that's the person you actually want, but they don't want you? There are
Then
situations because it's one of those things where maybe it's just like you want ice cream, but it's not good for you.
exactly. You
Correct.
have to, at that point, you have to love yourself enough to
Some
recognize that that person ain't for you.
some people stick around
I
and
know
wait.
that happens.
Oh yeah.
I
Oh
know
yeah.
that happens, and it's
Oh, it's
unfortunate.
happened to me.
Bro, I've been in that same situation. I've done it. I've
Yeah.
lived it.
Oh, we
And
all have.
like this is why part of what we try to say all the time is set those standards for yourself and love
Yeah.
yourself enough
Love yourself.
to
To
make it
say, hey, I'm not gonna deal with this. I'm gonna go
exactly.
out. I'm gonna go and to me, I think relationship, significant other, dating, marriage is somewhat of a cat and play a cat and mouse game to where you as a man or you as a woman have got to put in a little bit more love to that person to convince them like, hey, I'm in this for the long haul. Because
That's
if you're just putting in minimal work, both of you guys,
you're gonna get minimal results. That's it.
correct. But if a lot of times, and I think it's a science to this that I think in relationships, there's a reason why women are more caring, loving, nurturing, because they put more effort towards those things
Yeah,
than men do.
yeah, they do.
You know what I mean? Women love harder. Women nurture better. They
Mhm.
care more. Men, we're just focused on making sure she got a home to come to, making sure she continues to have a smile on her face, take care of her in the bedroom, and make sure nothing out of the ordinary can hurt her or hurt the situation we're in because all
Mhm.
men we want is peace.
Yeah,
We don't want to
but
disrupt that peace.
you know,
Fine, and that goes back, and I remember that goes back to our earlier episodes to the fact that, ladies, all men want is peace.
yeah, that's true, but I also, there are caveats here about, like, toxic masculinity, not
Correct,
feeling
correct.
like we have the space to love in the ways that we feel like we should, or
Yeah, but
women
if a
feel
woman is giving off that peace, and a man is providing a certain stability towards a marriage, significant other, I mean, there's really minimal room for toxic masculinity.
like, I'd say there's plenty of room for toxic masculinity because toxic masculinity isn't like the cause is logical. There's a clear cause and effect situation, but the way it manifests makes zero sense.
Yes, it makes zero sense. But if you're, I don't even like to call it gender roles, but
Mhm,
if you're playing your part in a relationship to where you guys have sat down and you discussed what you wanted from each other, and you're
mhm.
providing that, and you set an expectation and a standard for the relationship just as much as you are for yourselves, the toxic masculinity pretty much, I won't say it won't never happen, but
Okay, yeah, 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 okay,
the
yeah, I'll agree
the
with you on that.
the
The
percentage of you
opportunities
guys,
for
yeah,
it.
of moving forward and working through it is better
Yeah, yeah,
than,
yeah, yeah, I'll agree. Yeah,
yeah, than people feeling like, you know,
but
I don't know what he wants, I don't know what she wants. But at
exactly.
the same time, I think there's always this period where it gets, as a man, it gets to a point where you have everything you want out of a woman. You don't need anything else. You're good. And I think that's the same thing for a woman in certain situations.
Mhm,
Certain, not everybody, not every man and not every woman's like that because we there are some people out here who want more and never satisfied, never happy. And then there are certain situations where when you've been through so much of the nonsense and the bullshit throughout your life, and you found that one that brings something differently,
Mhm.
you're good. You've, like
Yeah.
I said, you've struck gold.
Hmm. But I mean, that's I think what you're talking about is contentment. And I
Correct.
think there are very few
Which
people,
is normal.
yeah, but I think there are very few people in modern times who actually know what will make them content. They
True.
know what will
True.
make them happy in the moment, but
Correct.
they don't know how to sustain it. They don't know what will sustain it.
Okay.
So, going like for instance, going
Maybe
back to
maybe this is another topic, but do you feel like men and women, people use others to kind of fill that
oh yeah,
containment?
all the
Oh
time.
yeah.
They
Yeah.
use other people, they use places, they use
Yeah.
things, they
Yeah.
will use everything
Do you
to
feel like
try
that's a
and
problem too? That's a great topic for another discussion.
I don't even think it has to be another discussion because
Okay.
I mean, because we started this discussion talking about the baddie era, so to speak, right?
Oh yeah.
And the whole thing with the baddie era is presenting yourself as if you like this the physical is the
The
only
physical.
thing that will bring you happiness or contentment
And I do think,
or
in those type of situations, the contentment is never fulfilled.
yeah,
It's
it
never
never
fulfilled.
happens. It never happens. So people will continue chasing that feeling because
Yeah.
the I mean, it's like
Now that I do can cause some toxic masculinity.
oh yeah,
It can cause
definitely.
some toxic masculinity because you chase. It's like the hamster chase in the hamster wheel,
Yeah,
chasing that food all the time. That's what they used to compare us as far as science to men. The hamster in the hamster wheel just chasing that food, can't get to it, can't get to it.
oh yeah,
And
yeah,
when he finally gets to the food, he wants the
yeah.
same food over and over and over again. But when
Because he's
you
been
find that,
chasing it so long that the second he gets fed a little bit, he's
yeah,
like, "Oh, this is the greatest thing ever."
yeah,
He hasn't considered because he spent all his time chasing, all
yeah,
his time struggling, all his time fighting, that he hasn't considered what does he actually want to eat at that point
correct,
in time.
correct.
All he's thinking about is, "Oh, I got food. I'm good."
And then when you get with the right person you're supposed to be with, you're not full.
Yeah, you're
You
not
know what I
full
mean?
and you
You're not
don't
full.
you're not full and you don't even know how to fill yourself up at that
Correct. Correct.
excuse me.
Correct.
And what's it called? And then that's when because we've spent all this time struggling, fighting ourselves, fighting other people because that's how we feel like we're supposed to interact with the world.
Yeah.
Then when we get into a place where we're supposed to be quote unquote happy and content and all this stuff, the second we start feeling like that's not what it is, that's not what we want, or it's not giving us everything we need, we start fighting.
Yep.
We do it in
Yep.
weird ways. We do it with things like, oh, I'm cheating on you, or oh, I'm being verbally and emotionally abusive, or whatever the case may be. But then we start fighting.
Triggers. Triggers.
Exactly.
Yep.
And
Yep.
then we end up damaging somebody because we didn't get what we wanted, or
And then when we finally get something we want, it's like, I don't
it's
this
not what you need at that point.
correct. 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 Yep.
So, we we delude ourselves into thinking that like, oh yeah, this is the bright shiny thing is what we want.
Yep.
And this is why we've also had this conversation, but this is why I say sometimes it's okay to be alone, because sometimes you need to take that time to figure out exactly what you need.
Yep.
Sometimes you need to take that time.
But
And
I will say this. I will say this because, and I don't know, you can attest or agree to this, that
Mhm.
a man's needs change every day.
Oh yeah, everybody's
It
need.
changes every day. But but as a man speaking for that, I feel like we choose women to fulfill needs that we should be doing ourselves.
Um,
You know
yes
what I
and
mean?
yes and no.
Okay. So what do you feel like you need from a woman?
Me,
And of course you need sex. Of course you need, the sexual
yeah, that's why I say
that's a
the
given. That's
yes
a
and
given.
the no.
That's a
Yeah,
that's a given.
yeah,
I'm taking sex out of the equation
yeah.
because
Cool.
you can probably look at people's relationships today. If you take sex out of the equation,
Oh, that
oh,
whole relationship is a wrap.
correct,
Mhm.
correct. So a lot of times, for example, if you take sex out of a relationship, out of a marriage, or I mean, let's say for example, let's even put it into more context. What if your partner becomes sick?
Mhm.
They can't have sex, but that's been the vital piece of your relationship. That's what you quote unquote need.
Mhm.
You've overcomplicated things to where you haven't even realized who this person is.
Yeah.
You haven't even realized that the fact that the things you may need, sometimes a woman and a man can't give you everything you need.
Oh no.
They
There are
can't give
plenty
you
of times.
everything you want.
Yeah,
And it's and it,
there are plenty
they,
of times when or there are plenty of relationships that I've seen from the outside looking in where it's just like, we all hear slash see people who is like, dang, y'all fight all the time, and then somebody will slide in, and they'll say like, yeah, but their makeup sex is crazy, and it's just like that
yeah.
don't change the fact
Oh, yeah.
that
That
their
that they
relationship
they
ain't
they just they just argue again in an hour.
exactly.
Sex is temporary.
Yeah, that euphoria you get, like
And
we
how
I
long do
know
you
I
continue
know
do how long do you continue dealing with that?
exact I
Not saying
know.
not saying you're never gonna argue in a relationship. Not saying that you're never gonna have rifts or disagreements,
Mhm.
but you can't mirage it just with sex. You
Oh
gotta
yeah.
have communication. You gotta. I'm telling you right now. I'm telling you from experience. You gotta have it to where somebody's gotta say, "I'm sorry, I was wrong." Somebody's got to do it.
Yeah, somebody's got to do it, and somebody has to not just say it, but actually understand the why of it.
Yeah,
Like, well,
and
actually,
and, and,
both of you have to be able to do that. But
and do better.
like there's there's a phrase that I've heard so many times, and often it's used in a terrible context. But they post nut clarity, right? Like after you've had sex, after that euphoria has worn off, then you actually start thinking straight again,
Oh yeah,
and
yeah,
all of that stuff that you forgot because that sexual urge overrode all of your mental faculties for whatever reason,
yeah.
that comes crashing back in.
Oh yeah.
So them those bills that your partner isn't paying, though, that trash that they didn't take out,
Oh yeah.
those
Oh yeah.
dishes that they didn't
When
wash.
you had sex with your partner for 6, 7, 8, 9 months straight, and like you said, your 4 years is gone, you learn the motion, you learn the behaviors, and you start to be like, wait a minute here, you know, who is this person?
Yeah,
You know?
like that whole phrase that, oh, I woke up and realized that I didn't know who I didn't recognize who I was sleeping next to.
Oh yeah.
Like,
You finally open your eyes.
exactly. Like
Yeah.
you eat
You're
one.
like, oh, wait a minute, I'm paying all the bills. Oh, wait a minute. I come home from a hard day's work and I got to cook my own dinner.
Yeah, like it's
Oh, wait a minute. You're just sitting on the couch watching TV. Oh, wait a minute. I had a bad day, and you don't care how you don't care how.
I feel.
I feel, or you don't want to hear what I gotta say, but
Mhm.
you want some money, or you want me to take you somewhere. That was cool and sexy in the beginning, hearing
Yeah,
about your
because in the
feelings.
beginning there weren't as many stakes, but
Correct,
also
correct. Yeah,
there weren't as many stakes, but when there aren't as many stakes is when you should start setting those standards. Like
correct.
I had a conversation couple weeks ago with some students. And I can't remember exactly how it started, but one of the things that I was talking about was like, oh, when I did this, there were a couple of things that I didn't understand. Yeah, they were annoying, yeah, they were irritating, but they're part of the rules and you do it not because you want to, because I mean, let's be real, you're not going to want to do everything 100% of the time. But at the end of the day, it's about setting that standard for yourself. Like, because if you set the standard for yourself, then it's a lot easier to hold other people to that standard, right?
Yeah.
Now, some people might, and this is where like we spoke about Kevin Samuels, like someone like B Simone comes in, right?
Uh huh.
Because there was a quote unquote controversy. I didn't think it was that much of a controversy, but people were hot about it a couple months, maybe weeks, maybe months ago, where B Simone said like, "Oh, I'm not even talking to a dude unless he's on my level," and people got mad. And it's like, I'm not going to be mad at her for setting a standard for herself.
Now she said, well, I think people got mad is because it can. I think with who she is, it can be interpreted as two types of kind of has to be the same level, get on my level type of thing. Mentally, I mean, physically or financially. To the average man or woman like me or you could have been like, oh well, emotionally, spiritually, you know,
I mean, but if you want to be mad because you will never be on B Simone's quote unquote financial level, that tells me that you've given up on ever making it to that place.
okay, so getting on B Simone's level to somebody else could be maybe not because I feel like that's very subjective as far
Yeah,
as
exactly. That's the other thing.
B Simone's confidence, her level could be different than another person's,
Exactly. But at the same time,
and it could be a situation where she's just being herself.
yeah, but I'm not going to blame somebody for, I'm not going to be mad at somebody for being themselves. I can disagree.
Correct. Correct.
I can disagree all day, but I'm not going to be mad at you for showing me who you really are. Like,
Correct.
for instance, and I'm, not to dive too deep into this topic because all of this is that's not really what we discuss on this show. But like, if a racist don't like me, sure, it can piss me off that I got to deal with the racist, but I'm not.
Can you really change how they feel about you?
Yeah, I'm not going to try and change this person. All
Right.
you've done is tell me, okay, you're not somebody I plan on dealing with at any point in the future,
Correct.
or if I can help it.
Correct. Yeah.
Now, in B. Simone's case, right? She is
Her validation of level could be you could be already be there, or you could be doing
exactly,
better than her. A lot of it is subjective.
yeah, and a lot of it is like, and this is why I say it comes down to how you feel about yourself, because like, if let's say B. Simone does see you and say like, "Oh, yo, what's good with you?" Yeah.
That concludes episode 17, part 2.